Okay, so I thought I'd do a little bit of a garden tour. It's not a garden yet, but it will be one day. I like to call it the blank slate. Uh, had major work done in the backyard last year, as you can tell. It's looking great. It actually is looking really great. I've alluded in some other videos about how along here there were, 80-year-old shrubs. They had to be taken out. My neighbor wasn't too happy, but they were dead and overgrown and just terrible looking, at least on my side. So I had the fence put in, mainly for my puppers so that they can stay in the yard. This isn't necessarily a storage area. There's a huge gap under the fence where there's a bunch of dirt that needs to be backfilled. And certain puppies, we won't name names, but I do call her Dora the Explorer on occasion, would go into the neighbor's yard. So I had to block that off so they wouldn't escape. And then along the back fence here, which isn't just a fence, there's actually a huge retaining wall, and we'll go over there in a minute. Look, there's a bug on my arm. Gross. Gross, but yay, also happy because it's the 1st of May, and this is actually the first nice day we've had this year. So there was an attempt at some chicken wire fence thing with some haphazard retaining wall thing. I don't even know. Anyhow, with overgrown bushes, there were tree stumps and broken down trees and burned out trees because there had been a garage back here at some point that burned down. So there were burnt out stumps, and it was horrible. So I just had a company come in. They cleared all of this mess out, so that I literally was starting with a blank slate. So when I say I had a lot of work done here last year, I totally did. Right here where my little pupper is, there's a crater, as you can tell, and in this crater there used to be a huge tree, and it broke my heart when I found out that I had to have this tree removed, because it was 80 years old. It was gorgeous, but it was dying from the inside out. There was a crack literally right down the middle, and it would have come down either way this winter, just the way the winter was, with it warming up and then freezing off. The ice buildup in the tree would have split it for sure, and then we would have had probably more problems than that was worth. It would have come down on the neighbors' houses. So as a preventative measure, I had that taken out. Didn't make neighbors too happy, but you know what? It had to be done. So I will be replacing trees in here. They just won't be in the middle of the yard. So in this that's where I had my fire pit last year. It was just to throw some stones down and makeshift little area. So I took some landscaping classes. I'm excited with what we're doing, and I just wanted to start documenting this. I haven't figured out how to edit videos yet, so I'm going to try and just run through this in one go. So really quick, and I don't want it to be like a half-hour video either. So really quick, yesterday, or not yesterday, a couple days ago, the weather was pretty nice. And again, sorry, I'll back up. My camera work probably isn't the best either. So I had obviously a fence put in on this side too, with the gate, and then these pavers were existing, and the way they were before the fence and the gate, because there was nothing there, and that leads out to my driveway, they sort of curved out. So there were cornerstones, and you can see the hole there where I removed that one, and there was one under my old Christmas wreath, because we're doing stuff back here. So I just threw that here because when I get out my brown bags to clear up some of the yard garbage, I just wanted to remember to put that in there. So I just picked those up, and then for whatever reason at some point in the world, and it might be hard to tell, they had paver stones here as well, and I'm not sure why, so I lifted those out, and I'll be using them mostly. I have two huge, those are super huge and very heavy, so I have one on the other side of the fence, from the other side, that I'll be moving, and I'll be using to set my barbecue on the other side, but we'll go over that in 1 second too. So just starting out here, so this is how you would access the backyard from the driveway. I have this area here. It's about 48 square feet, which is awesome. As you can see, it's partial shade. Might get full sun at some point in the day because I have a really great backyard insofar as sun. So I dug up a whole bunch of stuff in here, including all these lovely rocks. Not that bucket, obviously. He's using that bucket for something else. But I've dug up all these rocks, which is great because I'm going to be using them in the landscape somewhere, but I'm not sure where. a tree stump that was under the porch, so I don't know what that was all about. I just dug those up with my hands, so I don't know what else might be lurking under here when I actually go in to remove the grass and whatever else. And then I also found this old pipe, which I hope nothing's living in. You can see it right there. I'm not sure what that's for. I'm going to hope that it's for nothing because it was covered with dirt and stuff, and my house didn't seem to explode. And then I also have this patch job thing here where I'm assuming there was some other sort of access or pipe or something, because here's where my vents and stuff for the hot water heater are, along with my dryer vent. And if you've been sort of following along with some of my posts, last year I thought this was going to be a 10-minute job to replace the dryer vent. And it wasn't. It was an all-day affair because when I removed this screen thing and discovered that the old vent wasn't actually attached to anything, I discovered I had a whole 5x5 foot room back here, which we've since deduced, and when I say we, me and my friends have deduced, likely held the old water tanks. It's some sort of cistern, so it's all like, it's unfinished obviously and bricked over on the other side, but it's kind of a neat thing to have. But it makes total sense that that's there because the kitchen floor, which is just up here, is always freezing. So now I've got to have the insulators come back and just spray insulation in there, just to help with the retaining of the heat. So yeah, so here I'm going to do just a little bit of a pretty garden. I've got some hydrangeas coming, some clematis, and I think this is actually going to be a great place for my lily of the valley, which I love but spreads like crazy. So I want it contained, and I'm hoping that this will contain it. And if it goes under the fence, that's fine too. I can show you back there. There's just a little strip of grass, and it would be fine if it was just on that side. So here's where my rain barrel, my first rain barrel is going to go. And I have to figure out how to raise that up off the ground. But when I had the gutters and everything redone last summer, and you can see they're coming off there from the winter, I've got to have that fixed, or I will fix it myself, whatever. Looks pretty simple and straightforward. They were kind enough to cut them so I wouldn't have to do it this year. So that was really neat. So here's going to be just a whole bunch of flowers, sort of camouflaging the rain barrel, but I will need access to the rain barrel because I'm planning on using, obviously, the water catchment to water these plants and others in the garden. So that's great. We are going to keep this patio again this year. I do have to clean it. I'm going to probably have to fill in some of the larger cracks. Looks like at some point somebody tried to clean it with, what do you call those, the pressure washer? Because there are some interesting marks on it. So I don't know, I'm going to have to get a little bit creative with this because it's not in the budget to replace it right now. And it's just not in the budget. So I will be tidying up some of this fencing. I think that's pretty easy to procure, the lattice work. So I will be getting some of that, removing these old Noma, whatever, moon ray light things. I don't even know what they are, but they're coming off. And that, so we'll keep that here. In this area, it's going to be pretty, like, just access to the garden. I found this stone in there. It was actually tucked away in the corner there. So I don't know. But I like finding old stuff like this. I don't know what it's for. I don't know what it is. It's going to end up in my garden somewhere. I'm not sure where. So over here, I have some sweet grasses coming back up, which is awesome because I thought I killed it last year, and I don't know why I bought it last year, but I was so excited to see it. So I've got to find a really good place for that. It might just end up being planted here once I get this sort of all tidied up and whatnot. These are some offcuts from the large tree that was in my yard. These are actually the upper limbs. So over there, I'll show you part of one of the main trunks. So these are just sort of the upper limbs. So I had them leave these because I have plans for them, and the plans are basically I'd like to sort of somehow level them off and put them around my fire pit when I build that in. So that'll be neat. So this is my patio furniture that I never sort of tucked away in the winter, but that takes up most of the deck, and you can sort of see the line around where I have a carpet. I'm going to be getting a larger rug for on top of that. Last year the squirrels took the black walnuts and hid them under the rug and then dug them out of the rug. So they wrecked my rug from last year, and that's fine. We'll figure it out. This was just haphazardly plopped in here last fall. I wanted to grow garlic. I wanted to grow something. I'm looking forward to the time when I can have my full yard back so that I can have my vegetables growing and whatever else. And this year I'm having fruits. I'm so excited. Well, not this year. I'm planting my fruit trees this year. So these are garlic. One of the bricks died. Like, I don't even know what happened there. It just exploded. I have no idea what happened. So all the power to you, brick. Squirrels or something dug some up. I didn't think squirrels like garlic, but maybe my squirrels do. Oh, and I'm showing you my hand here. Oh dear. That dirt's from there. I don't think you need to know that. There's another offcut. I don't know how I'm going to move this, but I'm going to have to move it. They just plopped that here. What I was using it for was to cut firewood. So I'm going to be moving that into the utility area, which I'll show you in a minute. And as you can see here, this side's really bad for the lattice work. So I'm going to pull all that off and replace it this year so that animals and stuff don't go under the deck, even though they quite obviously have already done that. And then in this area here, I think this was my neighbor's fence, and it ended up here, and I don't know what to do with it now. It's really heavy, and I don't know how to get rid of it. I might end up working it in somehow into the grand design, but for now, that's where it lives. So what I want to do here is I want to remove most of this grass. So it's quite a large space, and I'm just going to back up a bit to show everyone the area. So it's quite a large space, and it would be a dead area if I didn't do this with it. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be removing all this grass and land and leveling it all out, and I'm going to be installing like a pea gravel sort of patio area. So the barbecue that's currently on the deck, because the deck is so small, it's just too much there. So I will place that there just for access and stuff, and then we can enjoy the deck, and also the person barbecuing can still enjoy the company and whatever else, because that's one of my favorite things in the summer is to have barbecues. And then here, I don't know, you can sort of hear the traffic. Not that I live on a really busy road, but at times it is busy. So here, I found a fountain that I really, really like, and I think I'm going to splurge on that and actually go pick it up today. I'll be placing a water fountain in the middle of the sort of patio area. And over back here, I've always wanted one of those little tiny stone, I don't know, just a stone bench, just like to contemplate and whatever else. And then back here I might put some pots with plants and whatever else, but nothing too huge, because right here is where my orchard will be started. Not necessarily an orchard. There are some privacy concerns because they do have a raised deck. Not that they sit out on it and I don't really care, but just, you know, just for some screening and whatnot. I think they're called Espalier, and I'm probably pronouncing that completely terribly. They're basically trees that are grafted, fruit trees, and trained to grow like a fence. So I will be planting them up, not necessarily right up against the fence, but here in this area. Here they had some sort of flower bed thing going on, I'm not sure, and as you can see I'd already ripped up all the landscape cloth. So, and this is where I grabbed all the hostas out of and put them in the front yard. So here, and I see something growing. I'm not sure exactly what that is. We'll have a look at it after. Here, I'm going to be digging a trench, and that's a good segue into what we're doing. Oh, look, a robin. I'm going to be digging a trench along here, from the deck through down, because back here eventually, and this isn't going to happen this summer, but eventually, because I do have my work cut out for me this summer, when they cut the tree, well, and just 80 years of overgrowth, and when they cut the tree and had the stumps fall on the ground, I have major craters in the yard. It's just, I have to literally take up all of this grass anyways, level out the entire yard, hopefully do some grading, and then so it's gonna take a couple years to finish this. But back here, when I dig the trench, I'm gonna be laying some pipe in it, and putting electricity back here. So this is a nice little sort of shadier corner. It's a little bit farther removed from the house. it's just comfortable. It's a nice little sort of sitting area. So I haven't fully decided what I'm putting back here yet, but I know I either want some seating. It will be sort of secluded from the house because I'll be having larger hedges or bushes here with some perennial flowers and a little bit of a perennial garden going out sort of in a semicircle. So it'll be sort of a secluded area. I might even consider getting a plug-and-play hot tub. I don't know yet. Don't get too excited. This is a long-term plan. So back here is going to take some time to fill in and work on, but I'm hoping for that. And then the fire pit will be moved more so here. This area I'm not exactly sure what to do with yet. The perennial gardens might just go sort of rounded into this corner. This is access back here to the utility area, which is awesome. I love this. I'm so happy I had this built. So this is my patio, or not my patio, my paved driveway. Gideon, where are you going? He doesn't get to come back here very often. So here's where I have like offcuts from the tree that we had removed for firewood. These are all the stones I've collected so far in my yard. And there's many more, my friends. And then along the side, and I have to clean this all up before somebody trips and kills himself. Along the side I have access through to my driveway in the front, and then here's where I keep my garbage can and everything, and it's perfect. This is just such a great little area. I love it. And then it's also an extra access outside. So Gideon, come on, let's go. Let's go, little dude. Let's go, let's go. I'm surprised Serafina didn't follow you here. Oh, there she is. There she is. So we need access to this area. And this, of course, is the shed that I had built last summer too. I love it. I love the way everything's turned out so far. But here in the middle, this is going to be the most exciting part. And I can show you my drawings, but they don't really mean much to anybody but myself. But right in the center, I don't want like just this huge open area with like a semicircle at the back. So what I've decided to do is create sort of like pathways. So generally, and if we go back up on the deck to get a better sort of vantage point, generally like these will be moved, right? I will have a step down here. And again, remember off to the side here is going to be the paved, not paved, but little gravel patio. So we'll have a pathway going. The pathway from the patio will lead to the back sort of secret garden area. That's what I'll call it for now. And we'll break off here into the sort of center. And in the center, I want sort of like a walk around pathway, but within the circle that I'm going to be creating with the paths, that's where I'm going to put my vegetable garden, my berries, herbs, that sort of thing, right in the middle. So I think that'll be like a really sort of nice feature, and a nice little area, and it'll still give the dogs enough area to run, because they love nothing more than to run around. Hey, Gideon, look at that little bum. Just went under the fence now that he knows that's there. Now I got to block that off. Oh, let me go get that dog. What a bum. Excuse you, I didn't remember inviting you there. No, Gideon, come on. Gideon. Oh, Gideon, no. Come on, you go out. Out. Now that he knows that's there, what am I going to do? I'm going to put those rocks there or something. Ay. What do you do with these bums? What are you supposed to do with these bums, escape artists? Why are you escaping? You have this whole yard to play in. You too, missus. So I guess now's a good time to sort of let you guys go, now that I got to figure out how to block that off so that Mr. Houdini here, Houdini and Dora the Explorer, that's what I've got. So that they don't escape under there anymore, because I often do let them out here and then go elsewhere. Little flowers and some garbage. Okay. So that's about it. I will be updating you guys with some work and stuff like that, and that's it. So if you like what you're seeing and want to see updates and whatever else, subscribe. I've also got a Facebook page linked to. I have a Twitter that I never tweet on. I have, what do you call it? I have them all. I have Instagram. I have all those things. But I never post to anything really but Facebook and on YouTube, obviously, for now. But I will be. And that's it. So, Serafina, you want to say goodbye? No? Gideon? Yeah? Okay. Bye.